Hello, welcome back to the channel. Today we are diving into a straightforward comparison between two tech heavy funds, FTEC, ticker symbol FTEC, and QQQ. I will walk you through their fees, dividends, historical returns across different time frames, 1, 3, 5, and 10 years, okay, and explain which one I personally believe is the better buy forever hold, okay, fund, and why I am committed to FTech. Okay, so number one, what are they and how they differ? First, let's talk about FTech, which is the Fidelity Investment. As you can see here, Fidelity Investment MSCI USA Information Technology Index Fund. It tracks the MSCI USA IMI Information Technology Index. Okay, and QQQ, which I do not own, but is the Invesco QQQ Trust that tracks the Nasdaq 100 in the large non-financial companies on the Nasdaq. Okay, so what are the key difference? FTech is more strictly tech sector play, so information technology broadly, while QQQ has heavy tech but also non-tech large caps and is older and more widely held by people. Okay, so as you can see here, I have 8 shares of FTech. Okay, I'm averaging $196. I started this position this year. We'll go over that. I think overall the fund is up more than 20%, but because I'm dollar cost averaging, I am up 13%. Okay, and now the prices are $223 compared to my average cost of $196 or 97. Let's just say that. Okay, so if you look over here, I started building this position in January 2025. And as you can see, I always dollar cost average. If I can buy half a share, 0.1 share, it doesn't matter. 0.5 shares, it doesn't 0.5 share, it doesn't matter, right? I just try to dollar cost average, and that's how I got it to 8 shares so far this year, and I'm gonna keep adding to that. Okay, so let's talk about number two. Let's talk about the fees and dividends. Okay, FTech expense ratio is around 0.08%, very low according to the fund database. Okay, QQQ expense ratio is around 0.20%. Okay, so FTech is cheaper in terms of fund cost, which is a plus for long-term investors. Okay, and now let's talk about the dividends. Okay, of FTech, the yield is approximately 0.40 to 0.45% annually, so that's around 0.90 cents per share at recent prices. Okay, and for FTech, the yield is around 0.47 percent to 0.50%. Okay, according to the recent data. So QQQ slightly edges FTech on dividend yields, but both are low yielding funds. Understandable because given that they are growth tech focused. Okay, for a buy and hold growth investors, the dividend isn't the main driver here. So number three, historical returns. Okay, we are going to look at the 1 year, 3, 5, and 10 year return and see how they compare. Okay, so FTech, let's see, let's go over to here and let's look at, I'm using this website called Portfolios Lab. Okay, so let's look at, like I said before, FTech, and this is FTech here, down here, and this is QQQ, and let's compare them year to date. You can see that FTech has returned 21.57% so far this year, compared to 18.58% for QQQ. And then if you go to 1 year, the last year, FTEC has returned 25.39% compared to 22.80% for QQQ. And then the 3-year return for FTEC is 35.08%, and 3-year return for QQQ is 31.37%. And the 5-year return for FTEC, as you can see here, 19.23% compared to 16.63% for QQQ. And the average 10-year return for FTEC is 22.54% compared to 19.67% for QQQ. So on average in the last 10 years, you can see that FTEC has outperformed QQQ, and that doesn't mean it's going to be like that forever, but it says something. Okay, so which is the better buy to hold forever? Given all these fees, dividends, returns, alignment with my brokerage Fidelity, I personally prefer FTEC for a buy and hold infinite horizon. Here is why: lower cost, 0.08% versus 0.20% for QQQ, which means more of the return stays in your pocket over decades. Okay, slightly higher historical returns across multiple time frames. If you are already using Fidelity, holding an in-house fund like FTEC simplifies things like tax reports, account integration, etc. Okay, a tech focused strategy that's worked well historically, and I'm comfortable riding that trend long term. While this diversification is important, okay, so let's go back to my portfolio so you can see if you need to look at anything. While this diversification is important, if you believe tech will continue to drive growth, FTech gives you a clean, cost-efficient exposure. That said, I had emphasized this isn't a guarantee that FTech will always outperform QQQ. Past performance isn't future performance. QQQ has a long track record and massive liquidity or scale, which are advantages too. Okay, and the final thoughts and reminder: to sum up, both funds are excellent options for tech exposed investors. If you already own FTech, like I do, 8.08018 shares, okay, and are comfortable with its focus, then continuing to hold and maybe even adding makes sense for a forever strategy. If you prefer slightly broader exposure and are okay with slightly higher fees, QQQ remains very solid. This is important. This is not a financial advice. Do your own research. Consider your goals, risk, and time horizon, and possible consult a professional before buying anything you see here. Thanks for watching. Please support this channel, subscribe, like, and share, and this goes a long way in helping my channel grow. So I really appreciate it if you can subscribe, share, and like this video. Thank you so much for watching, and let me know in the comment what you think. Is FTech better or QQQ? Which one are you buying? Thanks. Bye bye.